minutes after 11 on Asase Radio 99.5. This is Team Talk, and this is where we get into our conversations. The first of which is going to be with a young man who is excelling, except for the fact that for about 2 years now he disappeared off my radar. But his excellence has brought him back into the space. Ernest Danso, he's the chef de mission for the Accra 2023 Games. This week, the sports minister has been speaking quite a bit about the games and what it means to the country. And earlier, you heard Princeton play you that insight of his speech about what we stand to gain from hosting the games. But as far as sports administration go, he's relatively new, at least to some of you. At least for some of us, we have known him for quite some time now. So what we're going to do this morning is to get you to be familiar with him, know who he is, and perhaps why the sports ministry decided that he was the best man for this particular job. And then we get into the conversation of the job itself, which is the Accra 2023 Games. Ernest, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashu.
It's
a pleasure to be here again, see you, and you're doing wonderful. I'm so much.
Thank you. You are doing even better. Otherwise, you would not be sitting here.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But so, for those who do not know Ernest Danso, and perhaps are wondering how the sports ministry settled on you as the chef de mission for the games, who are you?
I think, first of all, I'm not just going to be...
Draw closer to the microphone.
It's not going to be about me, Ernest Danso. It's just about... I believe there are equally good people and qualified people to myself. So I'm just a regular person who believes in development of youth in sports and so many other things, especially when it comes to agriculture as well. Yeah. But I've been around sports for a while, just in the quiet. I don't believe in making too much noise and then talking about sports anywhere. But sports, I do baseball and softball for the country. My background is marketing. I just brought that marketing aspect and leadership role that I played somewhere other places into sports.
So, for those of us who know you, we know you've been into baseball.
Yes.
The average Ghanaian doesn't think of Ghana when he thinks of baseball. So, speak to us about the state of the sport itself, baseball, in Ghana.
Like you said, Riley, most people, you mention baseball, they go like, do you really play baseball in Ghana? Yes, we do. It's on the low. The state of baseball is not really to the match of like the rugby and others who are also new.
Yeah.
Like baseball has been around for a very long time. But I think the challenge has been always funding, infrastructure, facilities, equipment, and all this, and even the interest of so many other people competing with football and tennis and other things. But lately, my leadership with my team, I decided that, listen, we have to change the narrative. We have to really make it a household name. We're lucky to have a new sport that has been introduced by the World Baseball called Baseball 5, and, which is like an urban style of baseball, version of baseball, and we played anywhere. Recently, we just hosted Africa, the youth, and the 18 championship in Ghana, and then Ghana won. Actually, we going to the World Cup. So baseball is basically a sport that is played mostly in America and the Japan and other things, and we get a lot of support from Japan as well. We are doing well currently. It didn't used to be better, but now I think we're getting somewhere. Currently, we are moving to the regions. We're in the central region, we're in the eastern region as well. We have offices in those regions. We have executives in the regions who are developing it. So we think we eventually, slowly, we will get there to virtually all the regions. And then baseball will be known to everyone now, because there's a lot of opportunities in baseball and softball. But hey, if we don't do it the way we have decided to go, we're not going to get anywhere.
You spoke about the introduction of Baseball 5 potentially being a silver bullet for you. If you could explain that, because you said you were lucky that it's been introduced, which essentially suggests that you see some advantages that it brings.
Yes. It will help us spread the game faster, and we could play it anywhere. Even on your car park, we can choose to play Baseball 5 here, It's just 4 on side. And the beautiful thing is, it's a mixed gender sports. And it's compulsory. You have to play it with the females.
Right.
And it makes it more easier for us because now we don't need anything to play baseball 5. All you need is a ball and a space. And a small space, not a big space. You can use a basketball court, you can use a volleyball court, you can use a handball court to play baseball 5. So all you need is a ball. Not like the baseball that you need equipment, you need a bat, you need a helmet, you need a diamond, you need all this, which is sometimes very expensive or quite expensive. So baseball 5, I think it's just a great thing that has happened to Africa and some other parts of the world as well. That it's catching fire so fast, it's moving so fast, it's spreading so quick. We have the World Cup coming up in October. We just played the first World Cup of the senior team in Mexico. We're going to Turkey. This particular one that we've qualified, Ghana won gold for Africa, the 18 team. So we're looking at doing something marvelous as well in the world. So baseball 5, I think, is the best, is the thing to go for.
In
Africa.
terms of the quality you have seen, and I remember, I think back in 2020, was it, when we first spoke, you were exposed to the sports on a global level. So you were attending some of these summits, which exposed you to some of the concepts that these federations out there were using and the talents they were producing. How does that compare to the talents that you are producing here now?
One thing, ever since I joined sports, I mean, naturally, aside sports, in every space, I believe we ignore the psychological aspect of lots of things.
Right.
I don't see sports psychology. I don't see it doing well in Ghana. So for me, one of the things we did on our part is try to work on the psychic of these kids to let them understand, to believe in themselves and know that they can do it. The quality, we will not be up to some countries when it comes to the inputs, what the countries really invest into these athletes. But I feel what the little what we're doing when it comes to camping, how we even project these young athletes. You need to give them respect. You need to let them believe in themselves. You cannot just take people out of the slums and say, go play a game because you have the talent, you're skillful and everything. So we want them to belong, to feel they're part of society. They are also part of us. We are one. And all they need to do is just add that part to the skills and the talent they have to go and perform. But we are not close to the likes of the South Africa. We are not close to the likes of the South Africans and Tunisians and other things. They come handy, they come well organized and everything. So I think we want to get to the states of the like the Taipeis, the new ones that are coming up, the Chinese, the Europeans. So we intend to do something in that regard, but we are not close.
Right. So in terms of some of the programs that you have run this year, if you're able to take us through basically what the first half of the year is, because you've spoken about excelling on the continent, winning gold, and now being in the frame to compete on the global stage. What else has happened in the last 6 months?
We putting up the most important to the team right now is we expanding and getting a solid team to run this federation, because without a good team you can't run anything positively. So we focus on the administrative part of the whole thing to get a team like in the region, so that when we start going and rolling out to the whole country, we will not be caught short and find ourselves wanting. So it's been that, and then developing a lot of trainers. We say trainers because when you call people coaches, I think we are competing with the world stage, and we can't just call anybody coach, so we call them trainers for now. Yeah. We are developing a lot of trainers that will train these athletes, and that's one. So we're also training, these trainers will also be trained by other trainers. So we are actually working on a lot of training more trainers to be able to train these athletes, because we can't just go out there developing the games with just the few other coaches that we have available. So we are training more coaches that people will say, but trainers we call them in the regions and then other parts of the city as well. Yeah. So that's what we've been doing currently, and then also putting our office in the top shape, and to make sure the team up in the office will take up the responsibility that will be coming up to us when it comes to dealing with the multitude and the numbers.
So what else have you got for the next half of the year?
Okay, so we go to the World Cup, and currently we have a 10-year development plan that we were supposed to start somewhere in last October, but we decided to put it on hold because we don't have the trainers, like we said. Yeah. So we're talking about baseball 5. We're not just leaving baseball. We poised to still do baseball when it comes to the youth development, and we're looking at the likes of now currently Uganda is doing some amazing things when it comes to baseball. The Americans are turning their attention to Uganda, and we think there's an opportunity to also take advantage of whatever is happening in Uganda to do well here as well. So we will be doing some championship. We're looking at start playing some league probably next year. So we're going to do preparation towards that. We're going to encourage most of the private clubs that are around to see how we can guide them, and so that they can be a formidable clubs as well, not just be individuals who go like, oh, I have a team, I have a club, like people normally do. They can't even take of their own selves, let alone talk about a club. So we don't want to move from that stage, and see how we can partner them with some individuals who can finance their activities a little bit. So we are just going to prepare more for next year, so we will be ready. That's what we want to do this half of the year.
Final question, and then we move to the LOC business and the African Games. Now, some of the things we discussed the last time we met are now coming back to me, so I'm going to ask you about at least one of those, which was the establishment of more clubs across the country and in the other regions. How far have you gone with that?
So like I said earlier, we have Central Region in place now. We have Eastern Region in place. And, it costs a lot of money to run this. I don't believe in just making numbers or adding numbers that will not be effective. So we want to be serious about what we're doing. So the Eastern Region currently we have, I'm just trying to be in partnership with friends, business associates in these regions who can support the activities of the Federation in these regions. Like we said, this tournament that we hosted in Ghana, I mean, the sports ministry came in a bit, the GOC came in a bit, but the chunk of the money came from just us, ourselves. I mean, any individuals, not anybody. So we are not running it or rushing it, but we are taking it slowly. And what we'll do is when we get to more of the regions, or eventually all the regions, then we'll have various clubs in those regions coming from the regional chapters to be competing, whilst we look at private people coming on board as well. But it costs a lot of money to run this things.
So I know I said this was the last question, but two more. So what happens when you set up these clubs in these regions, in terms of the sustenance of these clubs? Because since it's a new sport, someone has to keep providing the fuel to keep things running there. What happens when you set up these clubs?
So that's something I will say thank you to the Eastern Regional Chairman B. Foster, Chairman Felix, and then Kweku Tuafol in Capos as well, doing a marvelous job. These are people who are using their own resources, funds, to support these developments in these regions. And we've discussed a lot of things. We're trying to put up some few things before the next 2 years. We're looking to put up a trust fund to be able to generate revenue, to be able to support these regions as well. But what we do currently, that's what I'm saying, if I don't bring the business people in,
it comes from the individual pockets.
Yes, pockets. It's not going to work. Just that. It's individual pockets. That's it.
Right. Final question though. What is the level of coordination with the GES or the Ministry of Education, if there is any? Because once it's sports, it requires youth involvement. And if you are going to make any serious inroads, you would need at least a certain introduction through the school system, at least in the basic level. Is there anything like that?
Yes, that's something. Our 10-year development plan is part of that. We've spoken to the PE coordinator for the national, and we've had some few discussions. But like I said, we don't want to just do things the regular way. We want to be very deliberate and intentional about some of the things that we do. So we have that in mind. We are in talks with GES through the PE coordinator as well. So eventually we'll go to the school. We know that's the only way we can get it sustained. But we have to be cautious and careful, not just to go in and then the next minute we're out again. We want to be in there and being there forever. So we are taking our time and making sure we're putting things right.
All right. How did you jump from baseball, softball to LOC African Games?
Okay, CDM. LOC is on this one. There's a CDM.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Honestly, to be honest, I think hard work, they say it pays. But I don't know. I mean, there are people out there who are better, equally good as I am. But I think when you're doing something, just keep doing it and do it right. People are watching. Sometimes you might think people are not watching or they don't care about whatever you're doing, but people are really watching. So that's all I can say. I can say I don't know how I was chosen or selected among these huge names and big names in the sports industry, and then me to be appointed by the minister. It's a great honor, and it's putting a lot of pressure and heat on me because I love things done and done well. So this is going to put a lot of pressure on me, and I'll do my best to be able to help Ghana as well. So, I mean, for me, how I was chosen,
you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
Okay, so let's talk about the job itself. It's been 2 weeks, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm told you have already met some of the federations already. What has been your initial impression of what exists currently for the games?
Okay. To the LOC part, I'll leave it to them. I believe they're doing well. And the AU was here, they had a press conference. I'm sure they are impressed about what the LOC has done so far, the investment into the infrastructure and everything. But when it comes to the CDM's office, we've met a couple of the federations, and I think most of them are poised. But the morale is a bit low. This issue of funding, we need equipment, they want to see things happening. But I believe the ministry is also ready. Yesterday we had a meeting with the minister himself and the deputy minister, and then the federation heads were around, and the LOC members were also around. And I think everybody understands the tax ahead, and they're ready. But we need to have more conversations and deliberations to be able to ascertain and understand exactly where these federations are looking at going and what they want to do and the support they need, and how we can come in to make sure we all have one common goal to go into these games.
And I like the point you made about establishing what they need and how they need to do it. Because when you listen to the federations, they always need money.
Yes.
Sometimes the need for money gets or is superimposed over what they need the money for.
Exactly.
So much so that we often lose sight of what actually needs to be done, and the conversation becomes there's no money, we need money. And what are the specific needs of the various federations as we speak, with what, some 9 or is it 8 months to the games?
For me, from where I come from, where I'm sitting, and maybe part of the reasons why the minister and the stakeholders decided to choose me, money is a factor, but it's not the major factor. I think it's about management and how structured the federations are and what they intend or what they want to achieve from all this, some of these opportunities coming to Ghana. One of the things I said, okay, if Baseball 5 is coming to Ghana for us to host, we have to do everything to make sure we show up and show up well. And I think this puts you on a state that you cannot imagine. If I tell you what Baseball 5, maybe one of the reasons why I was even chosen by the minister. Ghana knows about baseball federation now. I mean, it used to be the underdog, and it's known now. The world stage is talking about baseball. People are surprised. Is this Ghana? Is this Africa? What is this country? Some people don't even know Ghana. I mean, I was with the world president, and so for me, one of the things when we're having a conversation with the federation, I'm going to say is, look at, if you really think about the athletes and where they have to be, that should be the focus. What can we do to make sure we put these athletes in the right state of mind to be able to go and participate? Not just, you can bring all the money and still fail if we don't put the right measures in place. So what really do we need to put these athletes in shape? One of the things I believe strongly we need is to get these kids prepared psychologically. So for me, that's one of the major parts I'm going to emphasize on. Funding, will get to get the equipment and all the things I'm sure some of them have already. So if government is not able to come through for you for every equipment and you have some that you can use, I believe take advantage of the situation and the opportunity that is coming to Ghana to showcase what you've got to the world. You'll be amazed and surprised how these things can be of great opportunity and support from the world for you. So I know most of them talk about funding, but some too are not. Yesterday, some were talking about, they have some equipment coming from there.
So you met yesterday?
Yes, we met yesterday.
Right. Is there anything from the meet you can share with us?
Well, not really. I think it's just about ministry wanting this game to be one of the best ever. And then just to put Ghana on the stage, like you mentioned, that you want Ghana to be like the half of West Africa. I think Ghana, in the past, is known for one of the greatest sports countries, but currently it's not. So we need to take advantage of these African games. Let's not think it's for some people. It's for all of us. The journalists in sports industry, the federation heads, the athletes, the GOC, the NSA, everybody needs to put in everything, because if it goes well, that's when your office becomes relevant and becomes important. If Ghana goes bad, it goes for all of us in sports. So for me, one of the things that I believe strongly is that I could see some wrongs going on, but that shouldn't deter me or to distract me or make me lose confidence in Ghana or the sports that we have to all fight for. So for me, that's what I saw the minister. I saw his main concern is to make sure that this game become one of the best. It shouldn't be something that will go back.
We'll be wrapping up shortly on this conversation. But listeners, our regular panelists, the sports editor at Happy FM, Nana Ohene Bamporunya, is joining us in the studio. Ohene, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Atsu. Yes, good morning to my very good friend.
How are our Langard friends?
Yeah, a good guy, and he's doing well for the games. Hopefully, they can pull it off.
If you've got any questions for him, now would be the time, and then
since we are doing this twice, I've done my bit already, but recent event would also require that I ask him one or two.
Yeah.
If he's followed the ministers' Meet the Press series, I can feel the agency to make this happen, but is that same in terms of the work done and the pace at which the infrastructure work is going on at both Botima and the University of Ghana? Because that will also affect your work greatly.
That's mainly like the LOC's question. This question should be added to the LOC, and I felt the last time they mentioned some percentage of work done so far. I think if you get to the LOC, they will give you state of where.
I think you said 92.
Yes, where
I asked that because there are some new indoor courts and others going on, at both venues, and your Team Ghana would use those facilities before the competition itself. So I'm thinking that you keep an eye on the development and how it's going.
There's a meeting. I just came. I was just appointed. So I have a meeting with the LOC on Tuesday, Wednesday actually, and we will discuss some of this into details. I will have to get a pass to go to all these facilities to make sure that I get to understand what's going on, so that I can be able to inform the various federations as well.
Right.
So, but are the teams preparing? Because I do not see.
Okay, most of them are preparing. What it is, I mean, like you said, tennis is in Warner right now. Boxing just finished a championship. Taekwondo is doing something in Tema today as well. I mean, a couple of them are into. They're already doing things. They're already competing. So, some sort of championship and event. So, I think they are prepared. But I need to work, like I said, prepare these people psychologically for this game. They need to understand that this is an opportunity for them to showcase whatever they've got for themselves in sports. Not to just go the regular, I've gone to Rwanda, I've gone to play and come back. I strongly believe some of the things that worked for my team to qualify for this Africa, those World Cup is we really had in-depth conversations with these people, get to understand and know them very well. Because lots of athletes come and they come from home. Sometimes they just get out from the house and they're going to compete. Sometimes I meet tennis players, and because I play tennis sometimes, I know some of them, and they come and say, me, I be a, and you just, the guy needs even just a milk or something to just be okay, nourish the body. They are not, that's where I want us to get to with the athletes, and we need to be prepared, and government cannot do this alone, I say it.
Now, your team Ghana will be participating in a number of games. In the last 8 months, we've had a few occasions where I think some of the games have been confirmed and approved by the relevant bodies. Some also, from what we're told, may not be given approval to compete because the playing surface or the standard facilities may not be present in Ghana. As we speak, I think with 9 months or so to the games, I think we should know which of the disciplines have been approved for the games. officially, what disciplines are we working with?
I will not be able to mention. I think it's the total number is 21 and 4 demonstration games as well. So what I need now is to just get a final list from the LOC.
So the number the minister mentioned on Monday is what we're going with.
Yes, that's the final list.
Right.
That's 21.
Right. In terms of your own ambitions, because this is your project for Team Ghana, your ambitions regarding where we place, what do you want to do? Because every time the culture has been a week or two to Commonwealth Games or World Athletics or whatever the game says, you have the minister or someone high in the establishment coming out to say a gold medal fetches you $500 or $5,000 and that kind of thing, which is not often consistent with the preparations that we have made up until that point. And I'm asking you this because even though the time is short, presumably whatever you set as your ambition or target has to be informed by the work that has been done before.
That's true. For me, you talk to a lot of people. Few previous shared the missions to other Olympic Games, and they believe in just stick to the gold winning sports disciplines and the sports code that will give you medals. That's what you need to. But I believe we should focus on all the federations and make sure that everybody is able to get some medal to come. And the motivation, I'm going to have a discussion with the ministry and the LOC as well. The ministry is especially to know how we can motivate these athletes going into this game and some of the promises that we have to make, and we need to make sure that we honor these promises that we are going to give to these people. But I want to see gold medals go beyond the boxing, the athletics, and other things. And this is something that our athletes are competing somewhere in the world, some part of the world they're doing well. But I believe coming to Ghana, something should resonate in these people to make sure that we have to not think about we being a fifth or second. We should believe it that we could be number one when it comes to the medals. Even though people say, the other people are going to come and compete, they have all the facilities and everything. Thank God we're getting some. The time is short. But I believe everything is in the head. Everything is up there in your head. If you believe in yourself, you can always do it. So I want more medals. I want to be, we live this African Games and Ghana comes out that everyone is going to talk about Ghana, not just by hosting, by also winning a lot of medals, and then not just winning it, and winning it well.
Are you not worried that for some of the disciplines, even the surfaces to train on are not existent? Because for sprints, track and field, for example, Cape Coast is the closest you would come to if you want a facility where athletes can go and run on. Elwak, we can use it. University of Ghana is not ready. Boteman is not ready. Accra Sports Stadium is not ready. Baba Yara is not ready. Does this not worry you?
I know it worries, but as we speak, some of the athletes are not here. Some like when it comes to athletics, they're coming from other parts of the world,
and that's a problem.
And that's a big problem. They're going to come from a surface that is so clean and perfect to a surface that they might even be worried to try to practice or train on because of they don't want to get injured or get any sort of thing that will worry their own career out there. So I keep saying something. It's the mind of every individual. Because if the mind is not ready, nothing's going to work. My major focus and concern is people can come in any way. They could be the best. But if they're not ready up there psychologically, it's not going to work. So I intend to have lots of engagement with these people.
One of the, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, was it Joseph Polamo or Zamati? I think at the last World Athletics Games, they mentioned that after the Games in Rabat 2019, that was the first time the quartets were seeing each other at the Games, not a pre-tournament preparation or anything. And especially because in that sprint and relay, you have to work on the baton change and all of those dynamics. It looks like for these games, our best bet is for the ministry or the country to decide that, you know what, since we don't have the facilities for them to train here, we probably are going to pay for them to camp somewhere and then have that training, because we cannot, till now it's 9 or 10 months to the games, we cannot sit here and pretend that whatever they are doing individually is going to come together nicely when they line up in match.
No, that's not the idea. The idea, definitely, like what you just mentioned, this has been like there are a lot of talks that I just came in, and we have a lot of discussion. These are all part of the discussions when it comes to even moving majority of the disciplines, the sports courts, out to some places that we can get facilities that can accommodate people to train and be ready for the games, like you said. If we don't have it here, then we don't have it here. Right. So we're looking elsewhere, not to go far, maybe some of the African countries, anywhere that we can be ready and prepared for. So what you just mentioned is one of the discussions that we are having. Is ongoing. I'm sure I should have a finality of some of this is very soon.
Very soon.
We want to be ready, but the truth is, like you said, the facilities they are putting up are going to be world class, but it's not ready, and we cannot use them. So we need to find where we can get the best to use to prepare these athletes. So I truly agree with you, and that's it's one of the discussions that is ongoing.
Finally, Charlie, there was a big yawa at the Commonwealth Games. You remember that yawa? When so far the GOC, the Ghana Athletics, looks like everybody's quiet about what happened, because the person who did it is a legend, Leo Miles Mills. The whole issue of failing to register our team to go, and it broke the hearts of the athletes, and it looks like no one took responsibility for it. We're going to the next games. It is a matter that needs to be addressed. What assurance can we have that as team lead, this time around, we are not going to have anything like this again, that people will shirk their responsibility or essentially forget to do what they actually paid to do?
The truth of the matter is, when you're preparing to lead a group of people, you need to put up a serious structure and systems in place. Because if you don't, like I'm saying, just like organizing an event, you cannot organize a wedding and leave maybe your shoe out or certain things. So you need to be prepared. You need to be ready. One of the things we did in Cape was, it was a small thing like people thought, but we put a lot of things in place. We had a team we call them team liaison officers, who will be doing day-to-day rounds with these various disciplines. Right. We did it with the countries anyway. And we want to bring the same thing to this place, whereby we'll be in tune with everything that needs to be done for every sports code when it comes to this tournament.
All right, Ernest, we can only thank you and wish you luck. I know you have the mind and you have the attitude for it. Once you put in the work, I'm sure God will help you to prevail. It's our games, and so we need to excel here.
Thank you so much, Drew. And I will say you guys are doing an amazing job. And then it's difficult, it's tough in the society, the country we live in. But the truth is, with all of us doing it together, I believe we can get to the top. It's not just going to be me. I'm just being mentioned as a chef de mission, but I'm telling you, I'm consulting a lot of people. I'm trying to get ideas and knowledge as to how to run this. Not in the sports industry alone. I mean, you need mentors from all over the space to be able to, because it's just managing people. And managing people, you need all the ideas to be able to navigate through some of this. It's going to be like you said, with God on our side, we're sure we're going to do something good.
Thank you very much, Ernest Danso, for coming. He is the chef de mission for the Accra 2023 games. There's a team talk.